The Ghosts in the Slaughterhouse. Based on the true story of H. Holmes and the Murder Castle in Chicago, 1920s. Chicago, 1923, a city of neon lights, wealth, and dark secrets. Amidst the bustling metropolis lies a story no one dares to speak of after dinner. It's about the Murder Castle, a place where countless lives were erased by the hands of one of America's most infamous serial killers. They called him H. Holmes, a doctor, a businessman, and a devil in disguise. But few knew that the true tragedy began in the basement of this building, a place known as the Slaughterhouse. A place where light never reached, and horror never ended. After the Columbian Exposition World's Fair ended, a surge of missing person reports drew police attention to this peculiar building. This was no ordinary hotel, it was a labyrinth of death, where every hallway, every room, hid deadly traps. A young detective named Daniels stepped into the main hall. Holding a dim oil lantern, its weak light revealed rusted interiors, dusty walls, and broken windows. The sound of his footsteps echoed through the silence, as if someone, or something, was watching him from afar. Daniels felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He heard faint whispers, as though someone was calling his name. But when he turned around, there was nothing but darkness. The detectives descended into the basement via a narrow, dark staircase. The air was heavy, filled with the stench of metal and decaying flesh. This was where Holmes carried out his most monstrous acts, a system of gas pipes, furnaces, and acid baths to erase all traces of his victims. Daniels bent down and picked up a silver necklace engraved with the name Emily. He swallowed hard, trying to suppress his emotions. Every item in this basement was evidence of Holmes' horrific crimes. But what terrified him most was the sound of faint giggling coming from somewhere in the shadows. "Who's there?" Daniels shouted, but there was no answer. Only the laughter grew louder, echoing throughout the basement. He felt as if someone was closing in on him, their icy breath brushing against his neck. In a locked room on the second floor, the team discovered a wooden box filled with letters and diaries. They gathered around a table, reading the shaky handwriting in faded ink. Each letter was a final cry for help, sent to families or friends, but none ever received a reply. "I fear I will never leave this place. The hotel owner, he is not like anyone I've ever met. His eyes are cold, as if they pierce through my soul." One letter read like this. These words were the last voices of innocent victims. The lead detective suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He looked up and saw a white figure standing right behind Daniels. But when he tried to shout a warning, the figure vanished as if it had never existed. At night, Daniels returned to the hotel alone to search for more clues. Holding his lantern, its weak light illuminated the dark, endless hallways. People say the souls of the victims still wander these halls. They cannot rest, for their deaths were too painful, too unjust. Daniels stopped when he heard soft footsteps behind him. He turned around, but saw nothing but darkness. His heart raced faster. Faint sobs echoed from a nearby room. He hesitated, but eventually decided to step inside. "Help me. I don't want to die here," the girl whispered. Daniels screamed and stumbled back. When he blinked, the girl disappeared. He ran out of the room, down the stairs, and collided with his colleagues waiting below. The next morning, the hotel was completely demolished. The debris was piled high, but no one dared to build anything new on that land. Holmes was hanged in 1896, but the story of the murder castle haunted the people of Chicago for decades afterward. People believe the souls of the victims have not found peace. They are still waiting for someone to hear their cries for help, from the depths of the darkness.